So at first, you guys started on research in the kitchen by borrowing mom's pressure cooker.
So we use agricultural waste and then make product out of it. We can turn also mushroom into materials, and we create a company out of it called Mycotech.
Welcome back to SUGEE Podcast, turning waste into profit with Mycotech.
Hi SUGEE people, welcome back to SUGEE Kansai Podcast. I'm Fristi Tania, your host for today. And today I'm not alone because Haruki Morikawa-san will be my co-host for this episode.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much, Haruki-san, for being my co-host for today. And also, SUGEE people, today on our show, we will have a special guest, Mr. Ronaldiaz. Can I call you Aldi?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and today, Aldi will join me in this podcast by sharing the passion for growing sustainable material for better life. So, as you guys know, that since 2015, the United Nations has been developing the agenda called Sustainable Development Goals or SDGs. There are 17 goals that are targeted to be achieved in 2030. One of them is related to climate change, sustainable development to protect the environment, and responsible production and consumption. So, and then this is the introduction from Mycotech Indonesia that I found from the website. So you guys already starting the business since 2012 as mushroom gourmet producers, and the team already realized that mushroom can save the world. And after a year of growing mushroom medium, my Mycotech team found mushroom grown bags becomes hardened and hard to break down. Since then, they initiate research to develop this kind of phenomenon from the kitchen by borrowing mom's pressure cooker. Whoa, it's really interesting. Luckily, they don't have to break many mom's kitchen's tools after they had full access to mycology lab of Indonesian government-owned research agency and the world-class laboratories in Singapore and Switzerland. Since that, Mycotech team is developing this material from scratch, from lab scale into pilot scale, and their mission is to deliver sustainable material from renewable resources with affordability. So, SUGEE people, are you curious? We are curious too. Stay tuned with it. Okay. Thank you for joining me today in SUGEE Kansai podcast. So today, SUGEE people, we will have inspiring talk with Mycotech Indonesia. So, Mas Aldi from Mycotech, when I read your website, I found a really interesting thing. So at first, you guys started on research in the kitchen by borrowing mom's pressure cooker. Wow, that's so cool. I mean, like, not everyone who found a mushroom growing in their mom's pressure cooker can explore this possibility like you guys do. So could you explain the history for Mycotech itself?
Yeah. So my name is Ronaldiaz, but you can call me Aldi.
Yes.
So basically, I'm the co-founder of Mycotech. So basically, my background is actually an architect.
Oh.
So I used to be an architect before. I studied as an architect. I practiced architecture in Jakarta and Singapore for about 3 to 4 years until 2012. And then we found out, and then me and my friends are trying to mix a product based on agricultural base. So we started off with Grow Box. It's a DIY mushroom kit that you can grow anytime and anywhere. And we smuggled them into Singapore where I was working. And then it was a really huge hit. And then afterwards we did a lot of research and then found out that mushroom not only can be just a gourmet or you can just eat mushroom, but we can turn also mushroom into materials. That's why in 2015 we started creating mushroom materials, and we created a company out of it called Mycotech. And afterwards, we did a lot of collaboration research with NUS, Singapore, and ETH Zurich. Our business model is basically from 2016 to 2018. Our business model is actually project basis. We did several projects with several partners all across Asia and Europe. One of them is in Seoul Architecture Biennale. We also have some projects in Vienna, Germany, and Bali, and Singapore. So that's until 2018, and then by the end of 2018, actually we got a seed round funding. And then after we get a seed round funding in 2018, we shifting our focus from project-based business model into full research into product market fit. That's in 2019. And then in 2020, we have several demand, and we have been able to reach the product market fit by the end of 2019. So in 2020, our target is shifted into product market availability. We try to scale up our production and our capacity to fulfill all the demands that are currently coming up to us. Yeah.
Okay. So does this pandemic situation of COVID-19 affect on Mycotech?
Yeah, sure. So we have stopped production from March, I think. So currently our capacity is still limited, but hopefully we can start continue our production by the end of June. But it's actually this pandemic also a blessing in disguise, because actually we were asked in January to be part of Tokyo Olympic 2020. So, as one of the pavilion there. So they asked us to make a mushroom pavilion in Olympic 2020, but we denied them. Like we canceled them because it's too soon. Like 3 months is too soon to build a whole mushroom pavilion. But because it's delayed until 2021, we might be able to contribute there. Yeah, participate in the Olympic.
Oh, so your target is to participate on the Olympic in 2021. Wow.
Yeah, one of them.
Cool. Yeah, Haruki-san, you have a question for them?
Yes. As Christy-san said, like when you see the mushroom in your mother's kitchen, then you will hint up this like amazing idea. But I think no one other than you came up with this idea. So I wonder why Mycotech team is really passionate about this mushroom research.
Yeah. So basically, we get the inspiration from Indonesian traditional food called tempe. Tempe is actually a soybean binds with mushroom mycelium. Maybe in Japan, it's similar with natto. You see it's soybean with roots of mushroom tangled in between. So that's where our idea come from. We used our parent pressure cooker is actually to sterilize the mushroom, because we cannot sterilize it by we need to sterilize it with pressure. We cannot sterilize it by just boiling it. But it failed. So our journey is actually full of failure, but fortunately we learn from all of the mistakes that we're in, and the passion that we are having towards this material is actually me personally is really an opportunistic person. So basically I got passionate because of new ideas and to see these possibilities of new materials without the need of extractions and mining, but by growing and harvesting the materials. It's really fascinating. It's really exciting. So actually, we saw these problems in material industries, where most of the process that currently, like conventional material production, is really unsustainable, because we destroy a lot of mountains. We cultivate a lot of cows or livestock that contribute so much to the greenhouse gases, and also the leather industry spill a lot of chemical toxic into the waterways, which is really not sustainable. That's why we try to, is there any more sustainable alternatives out there? And here we go.
Wow. Yeah, like, so we are really curious, like, why you choose mushroom? Why must mushroom?
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's other source or something materials.
Yeah.
Why mushroom?
So it started in 2012 when the grow box came up. When the grow box came up, we tried to make a DIY growing kit at first, but when I was a kid, I couldn't even grow a bean sprout. So I'm not born to grow things. So our base is actually, I need to grow. I need to be able to grow them. So we come up with mushroom because mushroom is, first one, is really adaptable. They can adapt to any ecosystem that we give them, like from mountains to cities to village to a paddy field to forest. Even they can grow on our feet, right?
Yes.
On our body. Fungus. So the first one that it's really adaptable, and the second one, its possibility is endless. As you mentioned before, we get a quote from Paul Stamets, a professor of mushroom professor in United States, and he said that mushroom can save the world because the function, the possibilities of mushroom is not limited on only edible or gourmet mushroom, but also you can make it as a water filtration, or even a land cultivation to make it to make land less pollutable. And then the other way, the other function is to make it as a material. Yeah.
Okay. So because it's easy to grow, and
it's easy to grow,
like adaptable in whichever, like whatever ecosystem will be. And okay, and then Haruki-san, so
Yes.
you have anything that come up from your mind that you want to ask?
At first, I saw the company name. I wonder why you named your company as Mycotech. Is that Indonesia?
Yeah. So Mycotech is basically mycology. Mycology is what you call it? A knowledge about mushroom. We call it mycology.
I see.
Yeah. So that's mycology, and tech is from technology. So it's mycology technology. It's
see.
really that simple.
Technology of mycology.
and we want to position ourselves as a technology company, not as an agricultural company. So that's why we use tech at the end, because we use biotechnology.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then when I read your website, I found that you guys have 3 main products: Mylia, Myco3, and Biobo. So the name is really unique. And like, could you explain more about this product to SUGEE people out there? And why should SUGEE people use your product?
Yeah. So basically, at first, because our background is architects, so we started with myco-tree. Myco-tree is actually mushroom composites. So we use agricultural waste and we bind them with mushroom mycelium. Mushroom mycelium here act as a natural adhesive. So it's similar like a concrete. So we can shape it into anything we like, into any shape that we like. So we started with making biocomposites, and then afterwards, in 2018, we started making board out of it. Why we choose board? We call it biobo. Biobo, it's because we call it that way because it's a binderless board because we do not use any glue, any adhesive. So why we choose board shape? Because board shape is more modular. It's easier to use. You can just cut into anything you like. You can make a furniture out of it, etc. So that's why we choose to make it as a board rather than, because if you mold it, it's based on the mold itself, and to create a lot of mold, it's really costly based on the project. Yeah. And the last one, we found out also that mushroom can also make a leather-like materials. So we call it milea. Milea is mycelium leather.
Leather. Leather, but from mushroom. Okay.
Yeah, there is no animal were harmed during the process.
As the leather. So maybe in the future, Mycotech also can like found new materials or possibilities like from the mushroom in the future. Not only Mylea Biobo and the others, but maybe in other, for example, making like materials from mushroom to be used in electronic devices, maybe. I don't know. Or something like that. Yeah, maybe in the future.
So if you haven't seen the milea, I have some samples. So we have.
I never seen before. Okay, so
yeah. So basically, this is like leather. But it's from mushroom.
Wow, the color is really beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like a paper or leather.
No, it's but this one with paper. Usually you can see the crease, but it's really flexible and you cannot tear it. Yeah.
It's stronger than paper, of course, because it's similar with leather. It's similar with leather. So SUGEE people, if you guys are interested on the Mycotech product, you can visit their website and see about that. And then also, what is the challenge? The biggest challenge you have experienced during the development or like during your research or something like, and how did you overcome those?
So basically, our biggest challenge is we do not have any standard to be followed on. Actually, there are. If you are a startup, basically you lack of resources, and because we one of the first that make mushroom materials, so we have to find our own standards, and that is the biggest challenge that we have currently. Yeah, and then afterwards, because we are in Indonesia, even though we have a lot of agricultural waste to be cultivated on, and it makes our materials more affordable, but we lack of resources of like research base or research partner network to the market, etc. So yeah, it's one of the challenges also.
So, but you don't have any challenge with the human resources, like
Human resources.
find a
Yeah,
team
that's the
like
next.
that have
Yeah.
similar vision with you. It's kind of
Yes. Yes.
fun, I
Yeah.
think, but I don't know.
Yeah. So after we got a seed round funding on 2018, we started growing our team to accelerate the growth of the company itself. And one of the main challenges that we faced is actually creating company culture, because as you know that um, because there are a lot of people, and each person have their own values, have their own vision, and the challenge of the company is to align all the visions
Yeah.
to make us to establish a purpose so we can move forward as in one direction.
Okay. So you have challenge, and how you align everyone's value that can be fit on your company now.
Yeah. So basically, we all know that Mycotech or a company have their own objectives, but in Mycotech, actually we always talk to the staff or our employee. We ask them, what is your personal objectives, and how Mycotech can help you to achieve your personal objectives. So we try to align their personal objectives with the company objectives. That's why we can get the shared interests, and we can establish a just cause or purpose. So we can align them or direct them into one directions. Yeah.
Oh, it's really cool. Like, so you like asking every personal goals of your team members, and then like offering like, okay, so we can help you achieve your goals by like offering like solution or like way my contact can do this, and
Yeah.
something like that. Okay.
But not offering. Yeah, not offering, but the employee itself can put their positioning in the company. So we do not. So they need to know by themselves, because our principle is actually we cannot change other persons. They have to change themselves. Yeah. So most of the people in Mycotech currently they are highly initiated. So we do not need to tell them what to do. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
And Haruki-san,
Yes.
do you have any question? Let's move to topic two.
Okay, so I want to move on the topic about the impact of mushroom for the sustainable society. Yeah. So in details, what mushroom, like how mushroom contribute to the sustainable society?
Yeah. So right now, most of the process that are in most of the industries are linear process. So it's one straight line, like from extractions of raw materials into dumping or waste. So it's a linear. But with mushroom, we use agricultural waste. So we start the raw materials itself from the waste of other industry. So we use agricultural waste and then make product out of it. So we upcycle them, and then afterwards we make a products. And because our product is fully biodegradable and it's natural base, it's really easy to be degraded to the earth. So it doesn't become waste, but it became compostable and degradable to the earth. So it's back to the earth, and then it contributes to the agricultural industries, and agricultural industries produce waste, which the waste we use. So it's become circular. So what we are trying to do here is to revolutionize the way we see the materials, how we produce materials here, from linear to circular.
Oh,
Yeah, that's so interesting.
Paradigm. Yeah, from linear into circular. Okay, then. Okay, then. Do you guys have any future plan for expanding your product overseas, not only in Indonesia but also from other country, maybe like in Japan, for example?
Yeah. So right now, because 2019, actually, we do a lot of our focus is on production. So we focus our production in Indonesia first. But actually, Japan is one of the main market that we started. Actually, last year, by the end of last year, I think in November, we got invited to do exhibition in Osaka.
Oh, our place.
Yeah. So in living design exhibition in Tax Osaka, and we get a really great what you call it market validations. Yeah. So the market is aligned with our values, like sustainable. Japanese people worry and love how we create the materials and etc. So we try. Our target is actually to enter the Japanese market by this year. We also have been collaborating. We also have been collaborating with Itochu currently, one of the Japanese company, and we'll try to launch several products at the beginning of next year, hopefully. Yeah, we don't know because
So
just stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Yes, SUGEE people, stay tuned. So, what kind of cooperation you guys want to get in this Japanese ecosystem or Japanese market? So
our business model, is actually B2B2C. So our market is actually other business, other brand or fashion brand. For example, with Itochu, they have several other brands underneath them. For example, just for example, maybe like Smiths or Onitsuka. So we try to give our materials, and they can make a product out of it. So, for example, like the first mushroom sneakers, or maybe mushroom bags, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really big, big market here, especially for the sneakers. I don't know why, but it seems like everyone's really like crazy with sneakers. Like, for me, it's just like, but there are new models, like, this is new leathers and new materials and like easy to wear. Like, I don't like, I'm not really so that interest, but some other, especially Japanese and like maybe some Chinese tourists, really, it's really crazy with Onitsuka Tiger, seriously.
Yeah.
Itochu is
like maybe
in Japan, so it shows how Japanese people expect to the mushroom to our market.
Yeah. Currently, we are trying to reach their standard. Fortunately, we already passed their standards last year, and right now we try to figure out what product should use the mushroom materials, right? Yeah, maybe for female we can sell a bag, mushroom bags.
Okay, cool.
Handbag.
So, if there are SUGEE people lives outside Indonesia but really interested, want to buy your product, how can we do that? For example, SUGEE people who live in Kansai area like us.
Yeah, just be patient. We'll come to you.
Oh, okay. Listen, guys, be patient, and they will come. Okay. Then let's move to the next question. Okay, this is really big question. What are Mycotech biggest dreams and goals in the future?
Yeah. So we see this technology. Its main potential is to democratize the technology. So our dream is actually to collaborate with local communities to use their own local agricultural ways to grow their own local materials and to use them locally on their communities. Because, for example, if you want to try to sell in Japan, we actually are planning to collaborate with the local farmers there to use their own local ways rather than use we produce it in Indonesia and then ship it there, because sustainability is our main core values. So we try to reduce our carbon footprints as low as possible. So that will be our future. So we will have like small production in many different locations countries. All across all across the world. Yeah.
So you use the local resources. You use the something like that. A local company, local resources, and therefore you can reduce the carbon dioxide.
And because we grow the materials, we also want to grow together with local communities.
Wow, cool. Okay, then last question. On scale 1 to 10, like what scale you recommend to get people to use these sustainable materials made from mushroom?
Oh, 10, absolutely.
Oh, why?
Yeah, because as you know that even though everyone loves leather, like because leather, if you use leather, you it's expensive. It looks good. It feels good, but actually, leather is one of the main contributors of greenhouse gases. They use a lot of they use a lot of spaces and use a lot of water. And also their process is really toxic and chemicals. And it's really bad for the earth. So that's why Mycotech here is trying to give you the alternative, more sustainable alternatives from leather. That's why if you love fashion, you can still do it, but make it more sustainable and more responsible with Mycotech.
Yeah, SUGEE people, listen. It's so you guys still can like protect the environment while being a fashionista. Okay.
Yeah.
Yay.
We call it creating profit while saving the world.
Yeah, really cool. Okay, then thank you so much, Mas Aldi, for today's podcast. And okay, thank
my
you.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much. SUGEE people, that's all for today's episode of SUGEE Kansai Podcast. Thanks for listening, and thank you to Aldi for joining me today. Also, thank you, Haruki-san. Thank you again. Join us again next week because we will have another interesting topic. And if you are interested in Mycotech Indonesia, you can visit www.mycote.ch. www.mycote.ch. So SUGEE people, make sure you subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and YouTube so you never miss an episode. For your information, SUGEE Kansai is actively trying to build collaboration with startups all over the world that has unique mission to reach the SDGs set by the UN. If you are interested in what we do, you can stop by our website at sugee.jp. Thank you and see you in the next episode.
Thank you for listening to SUGEE Podcast. Subscribe our channel and turn on notifications. We provide services for businessmen and professionals who work in Kansai. Arigatou gozaimasu.